Hello. So this is human psychology lesson. This is just going to be a basic thing, understanding basic human psychology. So people experience positive motivation in relation to movement towards a goal. So the way that's relevant to you is that for you to be happy in life, you need to basically have a very articulated vision for the future, and you need to be moving towards that vision for the future. You need to see yourself moving towards that vision for the future. And things like lying create stress in our minds. Fracturing of relationships creates stress in our minds. Any past, like insomnia, honestly creates a lot of stress because the lack of understanding of what causes it creates a lot of stress for people who are very high in conscientiousness. If you're very conscientious, you'll be very apt to think everything is your fault and try to figure out how you can be responsible for everything, because that's what conscientiousness is by definition. But basically, your own unique proclivities as a human being are going to dictate a lot of your temperament and personality. But outside of that, there are basic things that govern all of us, like movement towards a goal, making us happy. Too much choice being paralyzing. That's another interesting thing. If you have too many options before you, it is paralyzing because you don't know where to move. It's actually, you want like a limited but diverse number of options in a given situation. But basically, the point of this lesson is to help you develop a psychological view of your life, in addition to a health like perspective of your life, and in addition to whatever perspective of your life you have right now. So start thinking of yourself not just as Joe Smith, carpenter, and supplement enthusiast, but think of yourself as a combination of cultural forces, of your own biological drives, your own passions, your own curiosities, your own proclivities, your own biases. And really, the idea of psychology extends far beyond just the rudimentary psychology that I'm talking about right now. They just kind of cover the brief sociological perspective, the psychological perspective, the Freudian perspective, the like parental trauma perspective. It goes much deeper than that. It goes to the heart of myth itself, really, in some sense. Carl Jung made this connection, but he made the connection of monotheism triumphing over polytheism as psychological unity triumphing over psychological diversity, in a sense. The Greek polytheistic gods, the Greek Olympians, were and all the other gods, Morpheus, etc., were all different aspects of the human psyche. And monotheism, from a psychological perspective, the psychological significance of monotheism is that it's the unifying principle above all of these diverse things. So people have their intellectual curiosity, they have their desire to be a father, which is like Zeus, the father. They have, it's funny, Zeus father. You say it quickly, Zeus father. Zeus father is like, it's in an accent, it becomes Jupiter, which is actually the origin of the Roman name Jupiter. It was Zeus Pater that became Zupater. It became Jupiter. But anyway, so like the spirit of the father, like that desire to like be a father, like father your kids, is expressed. The militaristic strategy of Athena, the blind rage of Ares, all these, like the lust of Aphrodite, all these things are expressed. And you can see that in the Iliad and the Odyssey, like really, really detailed, like how they're these psychological forces and principalities. And monotheism comes in as this uniting force, and it's fascinating. It's just really fascinating, like all these myths bearing psychological significance, all these themes playing out in the human mind, how myths and patterns, like here's an idea. So I made a video on this. It's the collective unconscious, basically. So this course right here, I don't believe really that I'm creating this course. I believe that this course is coming through me from the collective unconscious. I'm just the node that is expressing the collective unconsciousness's new articulated awareness of the problem of insomnia. Because in a real sense, like I didn't solve, this kind of help you get into the collective unconscious and a little bit of the psychological framework I want you to understand for the course, because it helps with your perspective. So, drinking some kombucha because I can drink caffeine now without not sleeping because I fixed my insomnia. So I didn't invent the English language. This course is articulated in English. I didn't invent the scientific method. I didn't invent the scientific language in any of the studies that I read for years. I didn't invent many of the models that I use. I merely put them together. I invented a lot of the models, but not all of them. I didn't invent the roads I used, the food that, like, all the stuff that I used to create this was immediately given to me by other people and emerged from the minds of others. So how can I even myself emerge from the minds of others? Both all my ideas, all the things I've been exposed to, the books I've read, the movies I've seen, my parents' thoughts and ideas. So then for me to say, like, this course, I invented it. Like, no, I didn't. I just am a person who was receptive to the idea, and then I was prompted to come to the idea by having insomnia. And then the combination of those things synthesize the information within me, maybe collect the information, and then this dream came out of me. That's kind of how the collective unconscious works. Like, movies, books, these things are dreams of the collective unconscious. Feel free to slow this down and watch this in slow motion if I'm talking too quickly, but I just like to get into the flow. Like books, movies, like I said, dreams of the collective unconscious. It's not your dream. It's like artists dream the dream of the culture. And that's why you'll watch a movie and be like, oh my God, it's like that applies to me, because it does, because it's not that artist's dream for himself. It's that artist receiving the dream of the culture, because all these patterns, all the patterns within the culture that play themselves out in the drama, making it understandable to us, making it recognizable to us, don't come from him, but dang, I am burping a lot. Don't come from him, but they come through him from his recognition of all these things in the culture. And that's the beginning of like a psychological framework for understanding how ideas dissipate throughout the culture. So even in a sense of like how our culture has no awareness of health, that is the result of how people were starving to death for hundreds of years, thousands of years, most of all human history. And they just ignore. They're just like, the food's poisoned. Thank God there is food. It's going to kill me in 50 years. It'll be dead next week. Whatever. So it's just like thousands of years of that, except in nobility, basically. I think royalty are the only people who really had more foresight about that, but more on that later. But thousands of years of that, and you end up with this culture we have today where everyone's just dying of like terrible health. Like there's withered shells by the time they're 60, and they're just like dying and cacking up blood, and it's just completely normalized. Like this weird death cult that's going on in our culture. It's completely normalized because people were dying of starvation beforehand. So it's like we haven't had enough time of seeing our lifestyle kill us to realize it's just as deadly and painful as the swords of our enemies. And that's a psychological phenomenon. So ultimately part of what's going to make people healthy. Here's a fun fact too. So a dog that's in an unhealthy dog, you make unhealthy dog healthy again by just putting in a pack of healthy dogs. So one way that this course is making you guys healthy and helping you in the psychological sense to become healthy, really supporting the psychological frameworks and transformations necessary for you to make the choices, decisions, repeated decisions necessary to heal, become healthy, and stay healthy, is providing you the framework, providing you the community, really the community to reinforce these decisions. Like I mentioned this, but my brother and my friend John, they'll bleep that out actually. My friend who shall remain nameless, we're going to bleep that out. But my friend, he and I and my brother, we all form this little like collective of health. We all give each other health advice. We all take each other's health advice, and it helps keep us all on the same track so that we stay healthy. And without that, it's very hard to stay on. I mean, I don't know. Like, I've kind of always been into eating healthy, but it definitely like helps a lot because I'm only 24. So like turning 25 soon. It's going to, of course, going to be released on my birthday, but I haven't been alive long enough to really see myself remain consistent without community. And I've been alive long enough to see everyone else I know and many, many people who I've coached fall off once the community aspect falls away. So keeping community engagement high, being engaged in this community, making friends, talking to people, comparing experiences. This is really like the essence of what's going to help you. It's going to help you on such a deep psychological level you can't even understand. Like, you're going to form this little collective unconscious with all these people, and the power of the group will be greater than the power of any of us individually, and it will solve problems that we don't even anticipate. It's very cool how you'll see it happen. So community, very, very important. Humans can't really be healthy without community. And I think I'll tie this into the next two lessons. I'll bring them all together into this whole lesson. So the whole world is made up of people, and because the majority of people are apathetic towards their health, or apathetic towards life, or apathetic towards improving themselves, they don't progress. They regress. And that means that wherever they are, they start off in their 20s full of energy and life and ambition. They just end up becoming full of fatigue, full of arthritis, erectile dysfunction, no energy, low testosterone, going on the TRT cycle, going on the TRT merry-go-round, the hormonal replacement merry-go-round, the medication merry-go-round, losing all their ambition if they ever had any, just working jobs for money, and basically just trying to survive, because it's really hard to survive. It's a difficult world. I mean, it's a better world in many ways. There's a lot of opportunity in many ways, but it's very difficult because also the culture reinforces the worst habits. Like, you see the news reinforces fear constantly. The internet just sells sex all the time, like porn, just constantly. Like, it just bombards. I literally came across porn accidentally at the age of 11 looking for like literally like graphic design software. It's crazy. So like pornography, the implementation of pornography, very psychologically damaging. OnlyFans, young girls being enticed to sell their sex online before they even realize and understand the full ramifications of that. Not that I'm prudish by any stretch of the imagination, but like, just so unimaginative, just selling photos of yourself on the internet. Like, and it's just going to be there forever. And it's like, I don't know, like, just whatever though. But like, it's a very weird culture we live in. Very, very weird culture. And the culture is just getting weirder. Like, I remember listening to Ben Shapiro and Jordan Peterson talking. They were saying like, whether principles or politics is going to save us. And I'm like, you guys are both way too up in your heads. It's getting in our bodies and actually listening to what's going on below our neck and trying to like understand ourselves as human beings. Like, principles or politics, like, how about we like sit down with ourselves for a second and figure out how to stretch a bit, how to like move our bodies and figure out these things that we're walking around in, how they work, so we can all stop dying from chronic disease, so we can actually unlock our full mental capacities, unlock our IQ, because your IQ is completely latent until your metabolism is fully active, until you're no longer having deficits from nutrient deficiency and various toxins and neurotoxins in your food, water, diet, air, pillow, whatever. And the real thing, though, the real psychological perspective, human perspective, world perspective, is just the sheer apathy that everyone has toward their health. Like, you need to like get that. You need to like see a world where people give their kids iPads to shut them up so they don't have to pay attention to them, feed them poison because it's easy and they don't have to say no, or whatever reason they have. I'm a parent. I get that it's hard, but whatever. Like, feed their kids poison. There's no excuse to feed their kids poison. There's no effing excuse. Feed your kids poison because they don't even care to look into whether or not it's bad for them or not. But like, feed their kids poison, drink poison water, live a toxic lifestyle, throw their parents in nursing homes to die alone. Shall I go on? Develop heart disease. Die. I mean, like, heart disease, cancer, all these things kill most people. Most people die a life of regrets. Most people never sprint after the age of 20. Like, people live these like depressed lives of quiet desperation. Far worse than when Thoreau said that. And worse than that, when Thoreau said that most men live lives of quiet desperation, at least the men who live lives of quiet desperation had health and testosterone while they did so. But today we're not even given the gift of proper hormonal development, proper human development, proper movement development, proper physiological development, proper testosterone, any of this. We just suffer poor health without the money to eat proper food, without the resources to heal ourselves often. And then just die feeding this system that just continues to do this, completely ignoring this problem until eventually maybe the problem gets addressed. I mean, the problem is getting addressed right now with me here, but it's a bad world in many ways. It's a good world in many ways, but like the abortion rate's insane. It's at least 25% in the US, probably higher now, is what it was like 3 or 4 years ago. It's like 60, 70% in some European countries, and that's just crazy. Like people are just killing their kids. I mean, if you've had an abortion, I'm not trying to judge you. This course is here to heal you. I think that it's killing an innocent life, but like whatever. I mean, like I'm not here to judge you. Like one of the guys who wrote the most books in the Christian New Testament killed more Christians than anyone alive today. So there's forgiveness for all of us, and it's like ultimately, like I don't really care. Like if this is turning you off, you had an abortion, whatever. This is an insomnia course, but like even the fact that like you had to have an abortion, like let's really look at that. Let's look at like any trauma that might have caused for you, because let's not like turn away from that. Let's not pretend that that's just something sweeping under the rug. Oh, I don't want to discriminate against you for your abortion. And no, like really, let's look at that. Like what forces in society, what psychological frameworks did the people in your life have that made that necessary? Is that a healthy society? Do you feel like a healthy society pushed you to that? I'll drop it there, but it's sad. It's sad. I don't think that that's the way the world should be. I don't think that's the way people want the world to be. I don't think people who have abortions want to. Most of the time, I don't think that was like what they planned on doing. I don't think that was their ideal situation. We should just look at like why are children not being viewed as a blessing? Why is the food toxic? Why is the soil depleted? Why are we pouring millions of dollars into all these things that aren't health related? And there's reasons for it. There's good reasons for it. But I think that when we start viewing ourselves not just like they said that we live in a materialistic society, and I disagree. I don't think we live in a materialistic society at all. I think we live in an idealistic society, because people will pay hundreds of dollars for Gucci, which is an idea, but they won't pay hundreds of dollars for steak, which is give them material health. People will buy, people like they always flexing, conspicuous consumption. All this is for an idea. It's to impress other people, which ultimately is just an idea. If we were materialists, we would value material. We would wear furs. We would wear very fine clothing that feels good. We would take excellent care of our bodies so our health is in immaculate condition all the time. We wouldn't work all the time for ideas. We would make sure we had plenty of time to have sex, to do physically enjoyable things. We would be very physically enjoyable people, but we don't enjoy our bodies at all. We really don't. We sit down and numb our bodies with alcohol and drugs so we can stimulate, I guess, our minds with television and pornography. It's not a materialistic society. That's an idealistic society. It's a society that's very confused. And when you see the confusion for what it is, you don't want to participate in it anymore. You don't want to eat the poison. You don't want to watch the pornography. You don't want to watch the mindless television. You want to watch quality television. You want to eat quality food. You want to have quality sex with someone you love. Like, you don't want the absence of quality. Your life will be determined by the quality of your thoughts, by the quality of the things that you put into yourself and on yourself and around yourself. So pay attention to this quality. Pay attention to the quality of those around you and the quality that others around you are attracted to. Pay attention to what the culture tells you about quality. If it tells you, oh, you're being stuffy. Oh, you're one of those health nuts. You're one of those people that values the one thing that we really have. You're one of those people who's not a zombie. And all you'll hear is brain.